I'm Academic Counselor H. Biswas from IGNOU. So today our topic is course is MMPH 009. Today block 1 some of the units and then block 2. There is the International Human Resource Management. Today is the second session. So unit number 3, that is a course cross-cultural diversity and strategic HRM in international context, and fifth unit is your staffing for the international assignments. These 3 units I have to cover today. So now, in the cross-cultural diversity, there we have to see the major economic conditions in the HRM practices of different countries. For the HRM in Japan, then the United States, then United Kingdom, HRM in Turkey, Arab, Middle East, India and China. Most multinational companies are home to the most economically advanced nations, but operate in many different countries. It is a emerging economic conditions, the benefit they have to take. The foreign direct investment, through this foreign direct investment, multinational companies are progressing. Different countries, their government, they are allowing them to start their product in their own countries. So that way some trade business are going on. So multinationals have a greater power to decide whether to share their country's strategies, policies and practices with host country firms. So academicians, practitioners have considered multinational companies models and sources of managerial innovations. Now see the categories. There are development countries. Developed countries are USA, Japan, UK, and developing countries. Under these developing countries, that is your Turkey, India, Middle East, China, and India also. Now see the pattern of the HRM in Japan. So Japan has a very homogeneous culture, as most people share their cultural characteristics. They basically the solid feelings towards the groups and the communities characteristics Japanese societies. They are very much aware of their employees. Japanese people are very diligent and a strong sense of duty or indebtedness, because they are they know how to keep the relations better. So characteristics of the Japanese unions and the management are based on the corporate culture, and the relationships are based on the cooperation and harmony. So that's why it means the unions and the management relationships, that is how you can say employee-employer relationships, are very good, excellent in Japan. Another characteristic of the Japanese companies is the ringi. That is a method of policy and the decision making, where they have a suggestion box situated on the organizational premises. There is another aspect. Any decision making process they are also allowing to employees also. They have to take in the viewpoint of the workers, and finally they have to decide it. Then another very interesting thing is that the quality circle. It is a little gathering activity of the workers and employees doing similar work led by a manager, and this is a voluntary inclusions in the quality circle, maybe a weekly, maybe sometimes a daily basis, or maybe weekend. They have to sit together, have to see who is delayed, who is help is required or not. That a quarterly, that very cohesive manner they are maintaining the things. Management practices sustain success techniques, and the lifetime employment wage systems based on the seniority and the high interest in the employees' training. They are giving a training program is the top priority. Depending on the age and the educational background, workers' salaries are low and rise gradually until they retire. Age-appropriate wages and the promotion systems strengthen the long-term employment systems. The employees see the company as a family and the economical activity in a social unit. These all are the Japan HRM systems. Teamwork and the consensus are distinctive styles of the Japanese organization culture. Over consensus and teamwork also there. Managers seek their subordinates' approval in decision-making process and seek their approval also. Job rotations, which leads to employees' flexibility, in a prominent feature of the Japanese companies. The employees are first socialized before the initiation of the on-job training. First things they have to socialize the things, where the company, what are the policies, what type of work they have to do, what are the objectives of theirs, and what type of benefits they have to get it. So everything are very nice way it has been discussed, and they have to socialize the things. They should feel it is, yes, this is my house, my company, my factories, and this is my job. I have to fulfill the things. That type of feelings they have to create it. In United States, now coming to rather now USA, that is United States is often viewed as a melting pot in the term of the ethnic diversity. Its population includes the people of diverse background because different people are coming there. It's almost a little bit similar to our India also. So most prominent national cultural feature is the individualisms and American cultures. They are thinking their own, they are busy with their own matters, they are earning the money. So that type of cooperation sometimes it may not be available as good as in the Japan. So Americans are independent, ambitious, and profoundly individualistic. So that's why the characteristics of theirs. So they value the freedom and expect that people can shape and control their faiths. The focus is on the personal and financial success. That's why I written in the bold, I try to emphasize the things so that you can differentiate what is the Japan HRM system and the USA Japanese systems. Now next see the United States. Individualism influences and inspire the ethics of the American management and the personal management. Diligence and the long working hours when they required the individual employee decision-making motivations, then your outstanding self-image, initiatives, promotions, and high income as a reward are highlighted as the positive personal employees' achievements. A focus on personal freedom and the success means that individuals are free to pursue their careers and they can change the job also. So that is the things that there are some differences. And in organizations like your participatory management, the bosses are friendly and subordinates are willing to question the authorities. So that type of freedoms and authorities are there. One of the most prominent features of the American culture is anti-trade unionisms. More basically, there are no trade unions are not there, and it is not valued so much. So most workers and the employees perform their job in the non-union sectors. Thus, the employer power is relatively high in the political and the economic scenario. And another thing, the employees in through the human resource management practices, not trade unions, and role and functions are clearly defined and legally enforced on the employees through business contracts. In the contract it is written there, everything. And you have to obey all these things. They established interactive management systems based on the objectives of MBO. Management by objectives is prevalent in the American organizations. This drive better performance, increase the company visibility and the employee engagement with the organizations. American organizations have the highest working hours, productivity and employee training cost. Employee training is always taken by seriously. Despite leaving the organizations for a better prospects, they know that maybe they will leave the organizations maybe after 2 years or 3 years, even though the program is, they have to put the full effort to the in the training program. Seriously, they are taking all these things. So most of the multinational companies follow the ethnocentric policies for HRM. The local managers also have some autonomy to modify the strategy implementations. Now coming to United Kingdom. Now Japan is over. United States HRM system we have seen. Now see the United Kingdoms. Scotland, England, Wales and the Northern Ireland are from the United Kingdoms. The Englishmen are very individualistic and much emphasis is kept on valuing the freedom and the liberty. So, but at the same time, there is much considerations for the community, and the group action is also part of the cultural imprint. The fight realistically by the unions is for better wages and the working conditions. So union is there, but they are basically focused on the salary and the better conditions. Employee relationship is purely contractual, and employees do not expect managers to take care of them and solve their problems. Any personal problems, they are not anything. So employees see this is an invasion of the privacy. The management and the employees have an interpersonal, task-oriented relationships. Task-oriented, only the job-related works. Employees are considered career-oriented and switch to another company in such a better prospects. So you see in comparisons of the American culture, training is not taken strictly. Thus, the workforce has lower productivity rates in comparison of the American. Another things, the UK scored as per the survey in 1980, Upstead study, he found that UK scored lower on the power divide than other countries. So they are different from their superiors inside and outside of the workforce. So people are more about their liberty than quality. Power inequality is prevalent in class consciousness. Another thing is the white collar employees and the managers are given preferential treatment, such as better power, and there's a pay and the working conditions, they are good. At the same time, the manual or the blue collar employees are treated poorly. So due to dual therapy, white and blue collar employees have a dual hostile environments. Now coming to Turkey. What is the system of Turkey? Turkey is one of the biggest business partners of the European Union. The geographical location of the Turkey proves to be a significant advantage because Turkey are surrounding all the European countries. So that is another advantage is theirs. So it is a gateway connecting the three geographical regions. Geographical regions. They can export, they can trading and other agriculture, transportations, all these things. Turkey are very close to European countries. So government interactions of the pro-market economic policies and opening of the door of the liberalizations for the foreign direct investment has behaved the Turkey's economic growth. So Turkey's economic growth, because of they have opened the door for investment purposes for the European countries. Another things, it is Turkey is based on the legal, political, and social reforms, and Turkey is characterized by the nationalisms and the secularisms, transforming into a secular Western style states. The culture is a blend as it is conservative and traditional. Both the things are available there, especially in the rural areas and the groups of lower socioeconomic status. So Turkey's social and the organizational structure, due to its geographic locations, hence a mixture of Western and the Eastern values. Nevertheless, general collectivities and the individualistic tendencies remain to these days. Still, it is persist. So there is a disparity in the equality between the superiors and the subordinates. Then Turkish managers are not very socially friendly, but have a good interpersonal relationships, and they prefer to supervise rather than the managed. They are always supervising mood, always. And they have a high level of tolerance and very empathic. They prefer an intuitive approach to a decision making and pay attention to details. They are not good at controlling their emotions. So some of the points I am just highlighting. Now coming to Arab and the Middle East. The Middle East includes your Cyprus, Turkey, Israel, Egypt, Iran, and Oman. The majority of the countries in the Middle East area of the Arab ethnicity and follows the Islam. So Middle Easterners are profoundly collectives, which is a solid feeling of the faithfulness to their in-bunch. So in-bunch participation goes past close family and incorporates more distant families, family members and companions, basically. And mostly they are always respect to the seniors. There are also dedications and eye-to-eye communications, they prefer it. Even though writing written documents, they don't bother about it. Always for the verbal things they have to. That I will come to you and say. The seniors regarded advanced in the Islamic traditions, which urges a devotion to work, collaboration and amicability. So faithfulness to the gathering as brought about a low capacity to bear the groundbreaking thoughts and the difficulties. Advancement of pay depend on the devotion to the chiefs instead of occupation executions. Bedouin tradition is still there. Majlis of holding the counseling meetings has been carried over to the organizations. Managers and the workers from the different levels get together and convey their private contact, discussions and systems administrations. Written letters and the memos are avoided. higher level expertise are paying more. Expertise are recruited from the developed countries. They are recruiting the expert, especially for the high levels, from the Europe countries. I mean, from the developed countries. In contrast, for the lower level jobs, expertise are recruited from India, Pakistan, Malaysia, and Philippines, and other Arab countries. So this is because of the nationals are not ready to find these menial jobs. But now they are developing their nationals through some lot of trainings, educations. So top level and the lower level positions, some discrepancy, the disparity is there. So expertise and the higher levels are very well paid. Those are expertise, just go there for the work purposes. They are not citizen of this country, but just for posted there for the based on this their education and the knowledge power. They are well paid, and very interactive things are interactive things, attractions. That is the tax exemptions. So with the comfortable accommodations provided by the employer. Then there are no work assurance or revision of the agreement and has to be renewed after that, after 2 years or 3 years. It will be renewed based on the performance. So security and the agreement restorations. Lower level expertise are paid very low. The accommodation conditions are also very wrong. The working conditions are very harsh in comparison to locals. There is likewise extensive operations of the women for the home ground and expertise. Unions are allowed, but they cannot form the single ruling party control. Their unions are also ruled by their government only, their instructions. So no severe labor movement has been observed because there is no solid fair trade union is not there. That's why there is no movement. They also have a non-professional attitudes towards the business sometimes. So nepotisms and the intention, the social culture pressures are observed during the recruitment. They prefer the individual consultations over the group discussions when they are making the decisions involving them. Associates also view of the participative the management styles as a symbol of weakness. However, they expect to be part of the consultations, not the final decisions. This is some of the HRM practices are different countries. Now India. Coming to India, India is a multicultural society like the US with the numerous dialects and the religions we have and the customs changing from one location to another. But at the same time there are specific characteristics that all people commonly share. Fatalisms, emotional expressiveness, hospitality and friendliness are standard features observed across the cultural spectrum. Collectivism is shared by most people and is also identified in the working environment also. The people are community conscious. Community associations incorporates close family, more distant family, direct relatives, companions, caste and religious groups. But the group orientation is not observed in the workplace. There are some caste hierarchies also there, and the caste and the subcaste consciousness are still exist, and zero power is given to the lower rank. most of the management style is your authorizations or authoritarians and your parentalistics distinguish between the white and blue collar employees. Due to this, there is much separations in power, pay, working circumstances, and honors for the individuals in higher and lower positions. A democracy-based country, because being a democracy country, the individuals partake in a high degree of the opportunity for the articulations and on the not hold back to voice or scrutinize their pursuits. Trade is another things are there. So there exists a center for your around their individuals, advantage in plants and the nearby the industries. Arrangements are given in the guaranteed under the law for setting up the working advisory groups in production lines and plants. So some of the things are there. Employees are whatever the process, the decision making process are through the different mechanisms are there. They have a feeling of the obligations. They are fragile and innovative, aggressive, and materialistic. They like to work under the bosses and look for the supervisors' endorsements. So before the making independent decisions. So that is some type of the cultures are there in our India. Now coming to China. China is the most acquainted human civilizations on the planet. Very populous, processing the world. Nation was under the socialist country rule beginning around 1921 that had severe command over the life and the security of the individuals. The different ruler has come, your different successors has come, and finally they have introduced the market reforms and the decentralization decision making process. China has much diversity due to the various ethnic groups, languages, and the religions, but the people share some common characteristics despite the diverse cultures. Value like moral development and the significance of the rational connections, family directions, regard, age and order, and the idea of the destiny can in any case be tracked down today. So because of these ethics and values, the Chinese are collectivities and lean toward the group. Frequently they show the individualistic and the inclinations also. So, and another thing is the lack of discipline and the willingness of the supervisors to control the employees' behavior. That is also persist. And there have been no independent trade unions. That is the important thing. There is no independent trade unions. And the trade union leaders are often political party personals. So that to be noted. The government extends the control even during the recruitment process of the organizations. Reluctancy associated among the managers to share the information or to make the risky decisions. So there cannot be shared these things. And no free feelings. There is no free feelings as such. So managers depends on the rules and the methods, while the acquiescences, impulse control, and the acknowledgement of the social commitments are empowered. Decisiveness and the innovativeness are frequently overlooked. So fundamental, because this is a fundamental because of the school systems where the students are, where the systems are where the school systems where the students are pinpointed on their way of thinking and do not have a say. It is a hierarchical society where the status is regarded, and managers are making a couple of decisions and not being the considered accountables, and the instability of the world of politics. But with the passage of time and the changing workforce, practices have been changed. Newer generations is tolerant, assertive, and lenient about the observing the rules and the regulations. So now coming to some of the questions, what type of questions may come from this unit? That is the significant culture differences you have to elaborate. How the US's culture is different from China's cultures, and what are the significant culture difference between the India and the Turkey, and what are the different significant differences between the 7 economics in the context of the employee management styles. So, question like this. Now coming to strategic HR management in international context, what type of strategy are required? Here we have to see the understanding the perspective of the strategy, organizational forms by the different authors, knowledge transfer, then strategic control needs, and competitive strategies of the multinational companies. HRM introduces a view of the people or resources that have strategic importance for the creating the competitive advantage for the organizations. As per the different authors, they are seen as the distinctive approach to employment or management that seeks to achieve the competitive advantage, and through strategically you have to deploying a highly committed and capable workforce. So you have to prepare your workforce in such a way so that they can handle the situation, any situations. So that type of strategy you have to adopt it. So using the integrated way and the cultural, structural, and the personal techniques, they can adopt it. So competency has to build up. Decision making process should be faster. Whatever the technology is required, that also to be adopted. So strategic international the human resource management is one of the things. Human resource management issues and functions and the policies and practices that result from the strategic deployment of the multinational enterprises, and that impact on the international concerns and goals of those enterprises. Framework in your strategic HRM. So early regard for the life cycle models in the light of the idea of the fit from the HRM, progressive phases on your mentality of the board and the base camp of the global activities. So you should have a mindset, different mindsets should be there. Mentally you have to prepare. So product life cycles and your organizational life cycles. Subsequent improvement of the thoughts regarding the organization plan and the cycle through which the strategy and the structures can be coordinated for the optimal multinational companies. Development of an integrative consistency, contingencies and framework starts with the need of the incorporate and separate HRM approaches. There are 3 models of doing it. Here I just try to emphasize the things. What about any organization? They have some strategies. All the department in a broader way, company top management has decided one of the strategy, how to run this company, how to develop increase the revenue, and what type of product to be launched for the competitive advantage. That is one of the things are already there. Apart from that, HRM strategy is also one of the important, because they have to, when it is talking about the international business purposes, so different type of strategies are there and which are aligned with the corporate strategies. That is the main things. You have to have a see the different, that all these strategies are to be clubbed and corporate strategies are to be in the same path. So adaptive, and there are so many, there are different methods are there. Now the farm strategy is deciding HR processes in other cultures. The resource dependence theory, or the resource based view of the farms, knowledge based view of the farm, and the organizational learning theories, and your relational and the social capital theories. There are various theories are there, and for the strategy can be taken as a model. So now here is the, some of the role of a human resource and the shaping of the organizational architectures. It is showing these pictures. Now different factors responsible while the planning of the HRM structures, because so many factors you have to adopt it, that employee training, then deployment, before deployment, what type of training is required for posting them, their culture, their behavioral patterns, language barriers, all these things are to be considered, because the multinational companies, maybe you have to recruit some of the local people from their end. So all these things you should have a structures and make a architectures, and how much manpower is required, optimum utilization of the human resource are also to be taken care. So that type of strategy plan is required. So here some of the points are the corporate orientations, then your strategic choices, what type of choices you take, then your multinational strategies, different roles are there, and what type of pressures and the goals of the multinational companies. Profitability is one of the points, then your coordinations and the integrations, and your local responsiveness. So all these aspects, and product is also quality. So now the critical factors to consider of this phase are, what are the critical phases? That is your cultural adaptations, consideration in the work designs, then regularity influences of the what are the regulations, basically regulatory influences of the work design, because they have to follow their rules and regulations, their country's regulations. Then avail the technology and the infrastructures. What type of available technology is there which is very much suitable for your product and for functioning the things. Outcomes. Let's see another, the two dimensions we can say to understand the thing. Help the two dimensions. One is outcomes, that tell whether the strategy is focused on maximization of the profit, or whether there are the multiple goals of the which profit maximization is also a part. Secondly is process. Considers whether the process comes about as a result of the planning or other factors. So there are two-dimensional way you have to see the strategy. So international human resource management strategy can be understood with the help of two dimensions. As I said, it is repeated only. So based on these two factors, Richard Whittington's 1993, he identified four perspectives of the strategies. One is classical, evolutionary, processual, and systematic. Now the most of the multinational companies, they are decentralized federations. 1920 to 50 saw that such pressure on the local differentiations, and Parlett and the Ghosal called this is the multi-domestic era. Then after that the global farms is a centralized hub, that is from 1950 to 80, there was a drop in the cost of transportations and communication because the technology has come, trade regulations were relaxed, lot of duties are removed, and the economics of the scale began or gaining the importance. And some different authorities are also come up for the facilitate the things for the trading purposes. मैं अभी ऑनलाइन क्लास में हूँ, थोड़ा कॉल बैक करता हूँ. मैं अभी नोएडा में हूँ. So, global farm is centralized hub, that is from 1950 to 80. So there was a drop in the cost of transportations and the communications. Trade regulations were relaxed and economics of scale began gaining the importance. International farms, a coordination federations in the following decades from 1950 to 80, there was pressure on the multinationals companies to spread the innovations across the farm. Then traditional farm and integrated networks. Here actually the post of the 1980s, farms have faced multiple pressures of the being the responsive locally, while also they are achieving the global scale with the need to spread innovations all over locations. Now, role of a corporate human resource functions. Strategic human resource, again the Ghosal try to understand the corporate HR functions role in international firms. Thus, developing global leaders is a priority in global and the centralized firms. So, leadership comes in the pictures. Then some of the things are your exploiting the knowledge. It should be codified, easily communicated, and shared. The complex data, manuals, etc. consist of the know-how. What are the manuals? The know-how. Learn through the books, collect, store, and communicate through the technology. Some of the implicit knowledge that is not easily visible and expressible. So, difficulty in sharing comes from the personal experience. Practice the knowledge remains elusive. Now, knowledge transfer. Most top managers believe it is essential to transfer the human knowledge, expertise, and the critical capabilities as they find them the most crucial factors for sharing the multinational company's performance. So, international assignments are essential for sharing vital knowledge and abilities needed for the success. There are two classes for knowledge, there is explicit and the your tactic knowledge. Needs. What are the basically the global competitions has intensified due to globalizations because of the it is now is the paramount requirement for the any multinational companies to keep up with the control and their international operations. So because of these, the international HRMs plays a very strategic role in the parent companies which are takes the control and the coordinations. Multinational companies' ability to ensure that all the operation units around the world act their overall policy in a systematic and coordinated and consistent manner. Some of the philosophy, some of the policies are to be guidelines to be prepared. So transferring the human resource between the units of the multinational companies can be used as a vehicle for the controlling and the instilling a steady corporate cultures and the strategy uniformly and across the organizations and all the subsidiaries also. So using the expertise as is a valuable mechanisms to control the monitor and the evaluate all the subsidiaries activities and behaviors. So studies have shown that the assignment of your expertise and at their entities gradually increase multinational companies control over the subsidiaries. Competitive strategies, it is expanding and conducting the business survey in the host country. It comes with a own set of the challenge. There are 4 main strategic that multinational companies use around the globe to challenge and compete in the global market. One is our global cost leaderships, multi-domestics, and transactionals, regionals. So multinational companies should be cost effective, but simultaneously capable enough to deliver products that satisfy the local customers' needs, as the taste and needs differ from country to country or region to regions. So we have to be very careful about their tastes, their desires, and that should be friendly. They can user friendly. That should be very user friendly. That type of product are to keep in mind before the design. Global cost leadership strategies. The quick changing the global environment is impacted due to globalizations of the business markets and rapid accelerations of the products, technology, and the life cycles. So firms try to integrate their activities to catch and take the advantage of the linkages and the synergies arising from the multiple mutual coordinations between the nations. So multinational companies endeavors to cost saving efficiencies, economics of the scale, and the scope for the accomplished by the incorporating and the planning the activities all over the globe. This leads to the development of highly standardized product and promotion approaches. Global product division structure. This structure is used for the optimum organizational performance. The system allows the control of all the functional activities of the product groups that inputs from the overseas and your local subsidiaries are often not considered. The local subsidiaries act as a cost center, not a profit center from the parent company's perspectives. Global area division structures. It generally opts when the local adoptions of the organization's products and services is critical to its business strategy and the structures. So organizations should set up a global area division structures where the substantial independence is enjoyed by the regionals or the country managers to adopt their strategies to the home countries, product divisions to tailor fit and local needs and demands. Now some of the elements that are critical to the structural area. Local and the overseas managers share the common global visions because they have to coordinate in this way. There is a balance of synergy and the relationship between them. Number 3 is perennial and the systematic and elaborate movement of the ideas, information and workforce between them happens on the regular basis. That should be regular basis. Linkages are created across the operating units, subsidiaries and the headquarters. Some of the critical points, elements for making a good structures. Then regional headquarters structures will be little different. It is overcome for the potential tension between the headquarters pool for global efficiencies and local subsidiaries push for the national effectiveness. So it is established in major geographical area around the globe. Systematic and the efficient exchange of information, managing the interlinkages between headquarters and local units, and continuously developing the control and the coordination of the business activities. It helps the organizations attain its transactional goals of any organizations of the globalizations and localizations as the operational plan. Now some of the self questions I think relevant to this chapters. What type of structures, then your what are the organizational strategies, explain the detail of the various competitive strategies of the different multinational companies. This type of few questions are there. Now quickly I can tell you some of the staffing systems. The success of the international operations of a multinational company, it depends on a great extent of its policies and the international human resource management. So important function is recruitment and the selection of the personnel for international assignments. Recruitment involves the searching for and obtaining the potential job candidates in sufficient numbers and your quality so that the organizations can select the most appropriate people to fill its job needs. Job descriptions, one of the issues, should be prepared and then candidates are recruited for selecting the most suitable persons for the job based on the job analysis. Selection is a multi-level process of the screening. The candidates choose the most suitable persons for the vacant posts. International assignments become the relevant in the context of the multinational corporations. Multinational corporation, this is MNCs, is the corporations of an enterprise that manages productions or delivers the services is more than one country. The International Labour Organization's ILO has defined an in multinational company as a corporations that has its management headquarters in one country known as the home country. Basically, this is a home country and operates in several other countries, that is known as a host countries. The quality of the human resource in a company is responsible to a great extent for the success or the failure of the company. In a multinational company, the performance of the individual units, it may be a subsidiaries in the foreign countries, is directly related to the capabilities of the people who man the operations of the unit. The decision is important at a personal level too for the candidate who is picked for the international assignment. The trend towards the globalizations and the size of the market is growing economics like India and China reinforces the significance of the international assignments. Moreover, there is a growing recognition that the success of the global business depends most critically on the recruiting the desired quality of the senior management in the multinational companies. It is as per the survey done by the Sular, that is your 2000. Some of the objectives of the recruitment and selection is to take the people so that you get the job done. So recruiting is one of the very important. That is the main objectives. The company can either bring the people from the required capabilities from the country where the headquarters is situated in the parent company, or it can recruit from the local labor market, the host countries. Alternatively, it can also recruit candidates from a country other than the parent or the host countries. That is called the third countries, depending on the staffing strategy of the organizations. So parent country nationals, we can say that is a PCNs, host country nationals, that is HCNs, and the third country nationals, that is TCNs, or a suitable combinations of the three classes of the employees will be recruited. Suppose you are a plant in other country, there you can send you from your home country persons or host country persons, and from the third party company. Suppose you are in the France, so China recruitment, some of the people can also join there. Suppose you have Indian people are also there, France people, local people are there, and your China people also there. So that's why you can mix these things. Sorry, plant is in the France, the home country is India, this is the host country. This is the way you can manage it. So in the global strategy of the company and the local conditions in the host country environment, and the together determines the headquarters accordingly, and subsidiary relationships and the staffing policy. What the way have to recruit the thing, that policy also can be decided. Different approaches are there. That is one of your ethnocentric approaches. One is your polycentric, geocentric, and regiocentric. On the regional basis you can take it. So different factors are affecting in the PCN, HCN, TCN mix are there. When this type of mixing employees are there from the home country, host country, and your third countries, then some problem may arise. The country in which the headquarters is situated determines to a certain extent that PCN, RCN, and TCN mix of the subsidiary. Generally speaking, the Japanese companies staff their subsidiaries with a high number of PCNs, because they have to, their persons there to prefer it. They don't hire the people from the others, especially at the top levels for control purposes. US companies are believed to be at the other extreme, and you will find a high proportions of HCNs in the subsidiaries in the US firms. So they are normally hiring the people from the host countries. Now culture is defined by the the collective programming of the mind which distinguishes the member of the categories and the people, those who are in the others. So there are two dimensions of this aspect, and there is your selection to be done by the global skills. Recruiters should be aware of the your cultural differences of the candidates and their background, and at the selection time, careful considerations is to be given to the culture, so that they can have so that resist the cultural shocks, and selected candidates is expected to experience in the country of works. Here some of the charts are there, different phases are there. Cultural shock, then your honeymoon stage, cultural shocks, then your adjustment, and finally your masteries. Just already in the master of this field. So different stages are there. Then some of the methods are there in the international recruitment methods. There see the and your external recruitment. Some internal recruitment is more costly, more cost effective, and the external recruitment. The most popular method for the external recruitment of the expertise are discussed below. That is your headhunting, cross-national advertising, and internet recruitments. These are some of the process. There, if you have some advantages there, the broader source of the low cost, because you can have a broader idea, faster recruitment process, easy to and efficient handling, and your tailored formations, candidate can make use of the self-assessment questionnaires to see, and they can fit the jobs. Provide the image and the modern organizations. Then your some of the methods are all the time different. Disadvantages also there in the on the internet recruitment, because quality of the applications can be low. Then your some of the internal graduate programs should be there. Some of the your recruitment methods, and the lack of image in the foreign market, then your lack of knowledge in the local market. So ignorance, all these some of the considerations are there, which are to be looked after. The difficulty basically is all of the area of the difficulties. Languages and cultural problems is also one of the things. So then some of the methods are there, recruitment method. Expertise in the here just this is my last things. Here actually after the completion of the project, they have to come back in the home country and they have to post in such a way so that their experiences can be utilized. That is the main thing. So that type of skill also there, because they are all skilled professionals working in another countries. So that part also to be taken in the strategy management purposes. So their cultural sensitivity, their concern of the business ethics, all of the points are to be considered. So now some of the important questions are this unit, it is what are the different recruitment methods, and who is the expertise, and what are the basically how to recruit the staffing for the multinational companies. These all are some of the questions are there in these units. So okay, I think now thank you very much. Thank you.